Black Lives Matter may have been the largest movement in the history of United States. Around 20 million people of United States came out of houses to protest against racial injustice. We need to understand what was the need for this protest. On 25th of May 2020, George Floyd was killed during arrest under the custody of police. A white police officer knelt on George Floyd's neck for nearly 8 minutes, and video of this surfaced over internet all over the world. It wasn't for the first time that a person was killed due to racial discrimination. In 1944, a child named George Stinney was also executed by electric chair, and people believed the reason for it to be racism. And it wasn't for the last time that someone has faced racial discrimination. But after the death of George Floyd, people felt that enough is enough and came out on roads to protest against racial injustice. Let's check some facts about racial discrimination and talk about what has happened in Black Lives Matter movement till now. Until then, like the video and subscribe the channel because it will give us power to bring more true news to you with unbiased opinions. In one of US survey, 15.8% of students reported experiencing race-based bullying or harassment. From 2013 to 2017, white patients in US received better quality healthcare than about 34% of Hispanic patients, 40% of black patients, and 40% of Native American patients. Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to experience a pregnancy-related death than white women, even at similar levels of income and education. Black Americans are more likely than white Americans to be arrested. Once arrested, they are more likely to be convicted, and once convicted, they are more likely to experience lengthy prison sentences. On average, black men in US receive sentences that are 19.1% longer than those of white men convicted for the same crimes. Still now, many people prefer white tenants to rent their apartments. Still now, many employers prefer white people to give jobs. One of US study found that job resumes with traditionally white-sounding names received 50% more callbacks than those with traditionally black names. Death of George Floyd was a wake-up call to stop racial injustice. After Barack Obama became first black president of United States, many people thought that the nation has entered a new post-racial era. During the mid-2010s, American society has seen a resurgence of high levels of racism and discrimination. Donald Trump was a chief proponent of the birther movement in US, which argued falsely that Obama was not born in the United States, and he also ran a racially tinged campaign in 2016 for his presidential elections. In 2016 presidential campaign, Donald Trump said that a judge with Mexican heritage should be disqualified from deciding cases against him. He also retweeted false statistics claiming that African Americans are responsible for the majority of murders of white Americans. And in some speeches, he has repeatedly linked African Americans and Hispanics with violent crime. On June 28, 2020, Trump retweeted video footage of Trump supporters and anti-Trump protesters arguing with one another, during which a supporter is recorded yelling, among other things, "White Power." He praised supporters in the retweet, calling them great people in his caption. Black Lives Matter began as a hashtag after George Zimmerman was acquitted in the shooting of Trayvon Martin, an unarmed African American teenager killed in Florida in 2013. The movement of Black Lives Matter became widely known in 2014 after two high-profile deaths of unarmed African American men. After the death of George Floyd on 25th of May, the video of his death widely circulated over the media, and on 26th of May, protests started in Minneapolis and police used tear gas to break them up. And on 27th of May, protests erupted widely across US in many cities. On 29th of May, the police officer involved in death of George Floyd was arrested with the charges of third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. On 29th of May, Donald Trump also tweeted on Twitter and called the protesters thugs, and also said, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts." After which, the tensions rose all over the country. On June 1st, George Floyd's brother visited the site where his brother died, and he also said to protesters to do it peacefully. On June 1st, President Donald Trump said, "If a city or a state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them." On June 3rd, three officers, Thomas Lane, Alexander Kueng, and Tou Thao, were charged with aiding and abetting the killing. On June 6th, two Buffalo officers were charged with felony assault on Saturday after a video showed officers shoving a 75-year-old protester outside City Hall on Thursday night. Protest peaked on June 6th when 500,000 people turned out in nearly 550 places across the United States in a single day. The protests against racial injustice were carried out throughout the world. The protests have been going on for more than 60 days, and the protesters are still waiting for justice. The only thing they want is to stop racial injustice. They want every human to be treated in same way. If you liked the video, then give thumbs up and share this video with your friends and family members. And please don't forget to subscribe the channel. Hit that subscribe button and click bell icon to get notifications.